Hello there, how are you? Thanks for watching my news. Some new stories from Ethiopia. Firstly, Amhara regional government has made some very interesting revelations showing the impact of the ongoing escalation, the unrest in the region. How many industries have been closed so far since July? How many people have been put out of work? And what are these unemployed people doing now? Details for you in this video. Secondly, a viewer sent a picture. He said, Sajid, morale of Ethiopian military is very low. Military is not interested in continuing the operation in Amhara. He said morale of Ethiopian military is written on this picture. I want to share the image with you. And thirdly, Tigray viewers, where in June this year, food aid provision was suspended by USAID and World Food Program. Now, we know that USAID, World Food Program, they have announced food aid resumption to Ethiopia. But has food aid resumption to Tigray, has food aid supply to Tigray begun or not? Details for you in this video. Firstly, viewers, I say that we should analyze and share with people different sides of the conflict which we are seeing in the Amhara region. We mostly focus on military side, other sides are neglected. So it's difficult to understand a conflict if we don't cover it in its entirety. Amhara regional government has shared some statistics, some numbers. We know that since almost July, heavy clashes have been ongoing in almost all zones of the Amhara region between Fano and military. North Shore, Gujum, Gondar, ports of Wallo to North Gondar, South Gondar, West Gondar, etc. Obviously, this unrest is bound to have its impact on businesses. How can factories continue operating if people cannot reach the factories to work? If fighting is ongoing close to a factory, how can the factory continue its operations? If electricity is cut off, if mobile networks are cut off, obviously businesses are affected. Regional government has shared some statistics. The government says since July, 1,226 industries have been closed in the Amhara region. So, industries mean factories where people were employed. And most of these businesses were in North Shore zone of the Amhara region and Western Amhara. How many people have been put out of work? Numbers have not been shared, but you can estimate. If 1,226 industries have been closed, it means that tens of thousands have now become unemployed after the start of conflict in the region. What will these unemployed people do? Any new project launched in the region since July to create jobs? No. Businessmen are running. Already existing businesses remain closed. No jobs announced by the government. Only available sector for jobs in Ethiopia for youth is security sector. ENDF is continuing recruitments, regional police, militia, and obviously anti-government groups are recruiting as well, Fano, out of Ethiopia, out of Amhara, Ola, etc. So youths who have been put out of work, who have been laid off, they don't have many options. How will they survive? Don't you think that they would join those groups which provide them with food, with money, sometimes protection to their families too? That is why it is easy for Fano to get recruits. It's one of the reasons. Yes, ideology matters too. Fano has built a narrative that it is fighting for the survival to protect the people of the Amhara ethnic group. But apart from that, the reality on the ground favors Fano. Reality on the ground is that people are losing jobs. They're unemployed, they cannot survive. Government is not providing alternative to these youths. So they unemployed youths always, they're not happy people. They express their anger at the government because obviously government is responsible if someone is unemployed. Government's responsibility is to give jobs to people or to provide them with unemployment benefits, which is not the case in Ethiopia, in Africa, in Asian countries too mostly. No unemployment benefits and no new jobs. So that is why youths are then easily convinced by a Fano to join Fano. These unemployed youths are potential recruits for Fano fighters. That is why I say that Fano's public support cannot be eliminated. It will continue. It's due to different reasons that Fano has immense public support in the Amhara region. Secondly, viewers, morale. How is the morale of Ethiopian military while it is conducting military operation in the Amhara region against Fano fighters? We keep on seeing reports from anti-government media outlets, activists claiming that thousands of ENDF soldiers are surrendering, they're defecting, they're joining Fano, but I don't share such reports until I have verified them properly. Such big claims we have been hearing since July. But what is the morale? A picture has been shared by a viewer with me. I want to show you the picture. If you zoom in the picture, you can clearly see that people in the picture who are Republican Guards, members of elite Republican Guards, they're not happy. They seem to be thinking about something. They seem to be uncertain. So they're not energized. They're not excited. Maybe not confident as well. What does it mean? Can we say it's because people don't want to fight in the Amhara? Well, military is fatigued. Why? When did Tigray war start? In November 2020. And this is October 2023. For almost 3 years, military have been involved in fighting. And still another front is Oromia, where there could be operations in the future. Military did not get any rest, any relief. And internal wars are always stressful because you're fighting against your own people. Whether they are from Amhara, Tigrayan, or they're their own people, they're all Ethiopians. Civil wars are more stressful, I think, for militaries than other wars. When they're fighting against an external enemy, they're more motivated. But when they're fighting internal war, they go through traumas. But these soldiers, I always say that these soldiers are just employees. They cannot do anything. They cannot rebel. They cannot say no to their seniors' orders. They have to abide by the orders. What matters is the opinion of those who are in positions of power. What do they want? They can pull the country out of crisis and they can throw the country into crisis after crisis. Last year's Tigray, where food aid supply has not resumed, though last week we heard from USAID, World Food Programme, that to Ethiopia food aid provision was resuming in July. In June and July, we saw that USAID and World Food Programme suspended delivery of food items to Ethiopia. Back then, the two organizations accused Ethiopian authorities of diverting the aid, stealing the aid, smuggling that into neighboring countries. Investigation was conducted by Tigray. Some government officials were held accountable or arrested too, but food aid delivery to Tigray has not resumed. Rather, we heard from UN Secretary General spokesperson yesterday. He said that food provision has resumed to only refugees in Ethiopia. There are around 800,000 refugees in Ethiopia from Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Eritrea. And due to the recent ongoing conflict in Sudan, thousands have entered Ethiopia recently. So, food aid from World Food Programme has only resumed, it is being given to these refugees who are at camps. Food aid provision to Tigray government or Ethiopian IDPs is still pending. Tigray is in a crisis. Tigray needs immediate food aid delivery. Let's see how long the WFP and USAID take to ensure that aid supplies resume. They want mechanisms. They want to ensure transparency when it comes to making lists of beneficiaries and distributing aid. Was a clip of UN officials speaking about resumption of food aid to Ethiopia. Thank you for watching.
Turning to Ethiopia, World Food Programme says it has begun rolling out food distribution to nearly 900,000 refugees in Ethiopia following a full revamp of safeguards and controls at its refugee operations. Families living in refugee camps across 5 regions, including new arrivals who fled from Sudan, are receiving food parcels for the first time since WFP paused food distribution in June of this year following reports of large-scale diversions of humanitarian supplies. WFP said around 35,000 people who fled from Sudan to Ethiopia in the last 6 months urgently require food assistance, while Ethiopia also hosts a further 850,000 refugees, mostly from Somalia, South Sudan, and Eritrea. The resumption of food distribution for refugees follows major reforms in all camps across the country.